This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
You know him as the Grammy-winning guitarist and songwriter with Creed, of course, back in the day, and currently with Alter Bridge with Miles Kennedy and his own band, Tremonti. All the info, marktremonti.com. He's an award-winning guitar player as well, and now he has done something very unusual, ambitious, daring. There are many other adjectives I could use, but first we'll say Mark Tremonti is with us. You know, Mark, when I think of the greats, two mountains come to mind. On top of one mountain, you know, is the Beatles, of course. But on top of that mountain is Frank Sinatra. And it takes a special person or band or artist or to cover the Beatles. I mean, that's ambitious in itself. And the same for anyone to attempt covering Frank Sinatra. You know, we have singers like Harry Connick and Michael Bublé, who are both amazing. But now we have you doing full album of Frank Sinatra covers. You know, I got to say, I'm a huge fan of your music and you, which generally is hard rock. But, you know, I'm also a massive fan of Old Blue Eyes, too. And I have to say, your versions of Frank Sinatra songs blew me away of any sort of preconceived notion I had of what I thought you were going to sound like.
Well, thank you so much. You know, it's been the project of my dreams. I absolutely loved working on this. It was the most exciting thing I think I've ever done in my life. So I appreciate the sentiment.
Well, the album is called Tremonti Sings Sinatra. So clearly you made very good use of your downtime during the pandemic. And this is just as equally important. You had a new child in your family, and there is really an important, amazing reason that you decided to do this album.
Yeah, you know, she's always right here with me. But you know, I became obsessed with Frank Sinatra. You know, I've always a big fan throughout my life, but I was obsessed about 3 years ago, and I just wanted to sing just like him and practice, just like as a guitar player wants to practice learning some other guitar players' jams. So I really dove deep, but I didn't know what I was going to do with it until we got the diagnosis that my daughter had Down syndrome. I'm like, you know, there was a reason for this obsession. Frank Sinatra raised over $1 billion for charity. That's not something that a lot of people talk about. And, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm going to sing a Frank Sinatra record and do it to raise funds and awareness for charity. And at first it was just a fun little side thing. And then my manager said his guitar teacher growing up was Frank Sinatra's touring player. So it went from me just doing a covers record to me doing it with Frank Sinatra's actual band.
That is bizarrely ironical.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's, there's been a lot of bizarre, weird things that have happened in this quest. Like one of them that just happened last week was, we had scheduled our very first show, Frank Sinatra show, the charity show on May 14th. Out of the blue, just we picked that day because I'm going on tour about a week and a half later. My friend called me up. He's like, you realize on May 14th is the day that Frank Sinatra passed away. Like, wow, what a weird, you know.
Yeah.
It's all these weird coincidences keep happening on this project. And it's, yeah, just... I don't know if it's all meant to be or what, but it's some crazy things have happened.
Well, here's a review of the album from Slash. Mark's take on Sinatra is nothing short of uncanny. I could never have expected one of my favorite metal guitarists to do such faithful renditions of Sinatra classics, not only instrumentally, but vocally, ! And these recordings are for a cause near and dear to my heart. I was very close to an uncle who had Down syndrome when I was growing up. I fully appreciate and support Mark's commitment to NDSS, which stands for National Down Syndrome Society, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a website specifically for your charity? And tell us again the name of your charity that you set up with this album.
Yeah, if you go to TremontiSingsSinatra.com, all the information will be on there. And it's Take a Chance for Charity is the organization. So I want this record just to be the launching off point for this whole much bigger picture thing. I want to be a little old man who raised $100 million for charity through this. You know, it's what it is it's challenging anybody with a platform, a radio DJ, a athlete, an actor, a musician, to do a project that nobody would see coming. I mean, you could do a song, you could do a magic show, whatever it is, you know, paint a painting, to raise money for charity, do it in the name of charity, do it in the name of Take a Chance for Charity. And if you get on that site, you'll see how you can do that. And I think I've been on my manager about doing, I'm like, we need a Take for Chance for Charity specific site, because as this grows, we need that. I think he set up takeachanceforcharity.org, I believe. But to be safe for now, go to TremontiSingsSinatra.com. And I think you can copy the links for the donate now buttons and all the good things. So when you do the project, people can, whatever money that you want, if you want to sell a CD or sell an experience or just a donate now button, you can do that.
I love it. And you brought this up briefly before in a weird twist. I think through your manager, Tim, you got connected to Frank's musical director, Mike Smith, but then he got in touch with a lot of the surviving members of Frank's orchestra. And you have shot some videos of you in the studio with these guys, a full orchestra singing these songs. I mean, that must have been so much fun when you got in the room with those guys for the first time and to hear that music.
Absolutely incredible. There's nothing, I could explain it all day long to you, and you would never see the reality of how great it was to be in that room. I had a couple of my friends from home here that came up and helped us film everything. And I was so appreciative. I was like, man, Tom and John, I'm so glad you guys were here, because I'd spend the rest of my life explaining how cool this was. Because, when you're in a room and the band starts playing Fly Me to the Moon, these guys who played Fly Me to the Moon with Frank Sinatra, and you're in the middle of it and you hear it live, it's just, it's outstanding. It's incredible. So I'm really excited now. The next step of this, outside of the Take a Chance for Charity project, is to do this stuff on stage. And we have our first show, which is also for charity, on May 14th, like I said. So I really.
And where is that? And what's the venue? And what town? Yeah.
That's in Orlando at this place called the Abbey. It all sold out in like a day. So it's, I want to do some more shows. I just want people to see this in person, because it's one thing hearing Frank Sinatra on the radio, but when you see this band play these songs live, it's intense. It's awesome.
Yeah. Plus these guys have played those songs a million times with Frank, like back in the day. So they know like what's happening. Getting back to the videos, that you shot a couple of videos of you in the studio performing and recording these songs. I noticed you actually did put on a suit for the video.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
You got to do that, right?
I took out my earrings. I remember Frank Sinatra was receiving a legacy lifetime achievement award or whatnot at the Grammys, and Bono did the speech for it. And he said, Frank doesn't much like guys with earrings, but he said, I was all right. And I was like, all right, well, I took my earrings out, and, I remember talking to my manager. He's like, hey, when you go in there, these guys are old school, more, old school guys. So I don't know, you gotta mind your P's and Q's when you go in there. So I was like, all right, I'm going to wear the suit, take out the earrings, be as respectful as I can. And I haven't put the earrings back in since then.
I was blessed and lucky that my dad actually took me to see Frank perform in the 80s. Just one show. But the one thing that I always remember is he does that thing where it's like the lone spotlight. There's a stool on the stage. There's a little table next to it with a cocktail and an ashtray. And then Frank comes out and sings, just these amazing songs. I know that you were driving your family crazy with some very intense hours and hours of listening to Sinatra songs and watching his old movies too, right?
Oh yeah. They thought I was crazy. I couldn't get away. I couldn't hide it. I'd try to do it in my own time, but you get on Netflix or whatever, and you see like every movie on there that I've been watching. They're like, man, is that all you do is watch Sinatra movies and read the books and listen to the music? And I think that's what I needed to do. I just wanted to do it. I was just obsessed. It was like discovering again this huge star all over again, because it's just like anybody else. You hear the My Ways and the New Yorks and the Christmas songs or whatnot, but I wasn't familiar with the beginnings of his career. When I heard the song As You performed by him in 1943, when he looked like a kid up there all nervous, and then he opens his mouth
skinny as hell. Yeah,
skinny as hell. But when he opened his mouth to sing, it was just incredible. You realize why they called him the Voice when he was young. And
I believe those were the Columbia Records years, right? Or something like
Columbia
that.
Records days.
Yeah.
When he was using Axel Stordahl, so it was more like string based stuff. And then he went over to Capitol after that, and it was more the big band with Nelson Riddle. And I feel like he had, those were, I think, the two biggest gaps in the way he sounded was when he went with Nelson Riddle in the Capitol Records building. But then again, he matured later in life and used all kinds of different arrangers. And, from there, he, got with Quincy Jones and did the Fly Me to the Moon era kind of stuff. And later in life, when he came back out of retirement and did Send in the Clowns and,
right.
He had so many different personalities to his approach that I wanted to kind of showcase each and every one of them on this record. That's why we tapped way back into the old stuff and some of the newer stuff as well.
He actually did a cover of the Beatles, Something. I don't know if you've heard that.
I think he did that on, he did a whole record. Was it called Circles or I'm not sure, but he did a whole record of covers and co-writes. Well, he did covers constantly. He hosted TV shows where he would have to sing all the hits of the day. So he sang I remember reading a story about he hated singing Woody Woodpecker because that was like, he had to play like the number one hit when the show opened or whatnot. He had to sing whatever the number one hit was, and he'd have to sing Woody the Woodpecker.
Well, I remember that there's a really famous clip of I think he did a Christmas special with Elvis, and he did a mashup of "Love Me Tender" and some other song, and they're sitting there snapping their. I mean, it's just fantastic. You have made this point that Frank. Yeah, Witchcraft, exactly.
Yeah.
You've made this point that Frank was a singer. He did not write the songs or the music, but I don't think there ever was or ever will be a singer that puts you right there in the lyrics of the songs. It's like you're sitting right next to him at the bar as he tells or sings a story, even though he didn't write the story.
Oh yeah, and he would take the lyrics, and the more you listen to it, you'd see what I'm talking about. But like for example, if you look at The Wee Small Hours, when he says, when your lonely heart has learned its lesson, he's like, you've learned your lesson. He takes a word and he's like, this is, he says it in a way where it really digs in. It's, he's deliberate, and he never sings the same song twice the same way. He's always moving stuff around. He's always experimenting. He thought of his voice, in my mind, he never said this directly, but he looked up to these band guys a lot, and he never played. I know he might have tinkered around a piano or whatnot, but he never played an instrument like these guys. And I feel like he wanted to earn the respect of these guys. So he treated his voice like it was an instrument. He learned to sing and breathe and phrase by watching Tommy Dorsey play the trombone. And so when he sang, he scooted the words in the pocket or poster, and he would miss a whole phrase. He would change the lyrics of a song, and then Cole Porter, the songwriter back in the day, would be like, he sent somebody up to his hotel room. They were at the same hotel once, and somebody came up and said, Mr. Sinatra, Cole Porter asked you if you would just kindly sing the same words as he wrote in the original version of the song. And then Sinatra said, well, you tell Mr. Porter, I'll just stop singing his songs altogether if that's what he prefers.
Oh.
So then Porter was like, all right, go ahead and sing them however you want. So,
well, yeah.
My point being, he used his voice as an instrument. He tried to change it up and improvise and mess with his phrasing constantly.
I have an excellent idea for you and your manager, Tim, that a show in New York City of Tremonti sings Sinatra at the Rainbow Room on top of 30 Rock. What do you think?
Love it. I would love it. We're talking about doing some more shows, and New York and Chicago are two of the first cities that they brought up. And the only thing about that is it takes me a long time to make it sound like it's just off the top of my head. It takes me a long time to get there. So I know I have to do this. I've got to learn. I got to learn New York, New York. I got to learn it the way Sinatra sang it, because he scats a lot in that song. It may sound straightforward to you, but there's a lot of space and there's a lot of scatting in that tune. So I gotta do my best to tackle that one.
And I think you're heading to Europe in June with Tremonti and who else is on that bill? No, is that Hailstorm or who is it? Who else is
Tremonti. When we go out with Tremonti, it's May 27th, and I think a band called Hawks is opening up for us.
Okay.
That was just decided, I think, this week. But we're going back over to Europe in this winter with Hailstorm and Mammoth, I believe.
Oh, right. Yeah, Wolfgang. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so it'd be great to finally get on tour again because he was touring with me and with my solo band for years.
Fantastic. So the website again, TremontiSingsSinatra.com. Is that correct?
Yep. And maybe take a chance for charity.org for the charity itself. I don't know. I've told my manager we need to set that up. I don't know if he did or not, but I did a few interviews where like, yeah, here's this website. So they know it before I know it.
Yeah.
But to be safe, like I said, TremontiSingsSinatra.com, and there'll be the records on there that you can get. All the money goes straight to charity. There's no middlemen. There's no paying anything back. The first penny goes to charity. And then if you can buy records, t-shirts, stickers, whatever you want, but you can also just donate now. There's a donate now button there as well.
Fantastic. Mark, congratulations, man. This is such a cool project. And you just crushed it vocally, man. And the band sounds amazing. So well done. Again, the website, TremontiSingsSinatra.com. You can get the album there. And come on, man. Rainbow Room, New York City. Let's make it happen.
I would love it, man. Talk to some local promoters and get me in there.
Mark, thanks a lot, man.
Thank you.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.